Alright, with 10A here, we've got a lot going on. So basically we have like a customer, and this customer is going to have a balance. They're going to make a purchase and they're going to have a balance. And what we want to do is we want to show their balance over the next 14 months. And the book is going to have a different number for that, so change that. But over the next 14 months, we're going to display their balance. The thing about their balance is that at the beginning of each month, we're going to add on interest, and that's going to be 1.25%. Also, the customer is going to pay 7% of whatever the balance happens to be that month. That's their monthly payment. And then the last requirement for this problem is that if their balance ever gets to $25 or less, we're just going to assume that they're going to pay that all off. So there's a couple of things that I've added into this problem that I don't think are required, but let me go ahead and see if I can point them out here for you. Let's see. I've added this line right here, final payment, because if their balance, like during the display of all the months, like let's say we get to month 4 and their balance is less than 25, or it's 25, I'm just going to pay that. I'm going to assume that they're paying that off, so I'm going to put out a statement that says final payment and then whatever that last payment was. And then of course we're going to have a break here so we can exit the loop early. We're not going to go through all 14 months if they've already paid off their balance. Also, if by the end of that 14-month period that we're checking for, they still have a balance that's higher than 25, then we're going to check for that. I've just got a little check for that outside of the loop, and it's going to say after we've gone through all 14 months, if the balance is still greater than 25, then it's going to say your balance is in whatever it happens to be. And so I don't know, they don't really say that that's something you need to put in there, but I think it's kind of helpful. And the last thing I've added in here is that the problem only really requires you to display their monthly balance. And I'm also adding in payments made. And this in the program is going to be kind of offset a little bit, so you can see like their balance and what they paid that month, then the next month their balance, what they're paying that month. So that might not be necessary as well, but just to kind of make things look a little better, I've done that. So with the flowchart, we've got start, and we've got all of these variables. Of course, we need I to count through the months. We've got their account number, and we're going to use, actually in 10B, we're going to end up making use of that a little bit more, but we've got an account number here, balance, monthly, and we need to have monthly because we're going to subtract whatever they pay from the balance each time we go through the loop. But also I'm going to use that to display their payment that month. And then we've got their name. So we're going to ask for the account number, enter their name, their balance. So that's basically what the problem is saying, the purchase, I'm just going to call it balance. And we're going to output kind of like these headers, this one statement in front of all of their their balances and their monthly payments, and it's just going to say account number, whatever, name, and then below that we'll go into the loop and output all of their information, all of their payments and current balances. So we've got this for loop, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to add that interest at the beginning of the month. And if the balance is less than or equal to 25, then we're just going to have them pay it off, and this should be break right there. So we're going to pay it off and break out of the loop. But if they've still got a greater balance than 25, we're going to keep going through this loop and saying your monthly payment is 7% of the balance. We display what their balance is for that month. I is our counter, so it's going to start at 1. And we're going to output the payment, payments made. We don't necessarily have to do that, but I like to see that as well. And then we're going to adjust our balance. So balance is now minus equals monthly. And that's the same as just subtracting monthly from the balance to have our new balance, because we paid a monthly cost there. And then we go back around, and Once we go through all 14 months, if we haven't broken out of that loop with that statement down there, then we're going to check to see if balance is still greater than 25, and if it is, we're going to say you still have a balance, basically. And if it's not, we stop. So this is probably only going to happen when we break out of the loop. We're going to have this false, and then we're going to stop. But let's go over here to the pseudocode, and you can just kind of pause the video and look that over. It's basically the same as the flow chart. And here's what the actual program would look like. You can see where we're asking all the information there. Just a space here. I'm just making kind of like a blank line. And then their personal information like account number, name, and then we're going to display all their information, their balances and their payments. So again, starting the month out by adding on that interest, and then this if else right here, and then adjusting the balance and checking to see if they still have a balance over 25. I do want to make note of this, set fill to 0 and set width to 2. I'm putting that there because the months get a little bit off balance if you have like month 1 and then you go all the way down with single digits and you get to month 10. It's going to throw the second column where we have our balances displayed. It's going to throw that off because it's only, 1 is only taking up 1 space and then the number 10 is taking up 2. So it just does this weird thing. So I'm having a preceding 0 in front of all the single digit numbers. And I want some space between month and balance. So I'm also setting fill to a blank space. So apostrophe, space, apostrophe, and then just giving it a nice 15 as a width, and then displaying the balances here. And then the same down here, you don't have to have this line again. I just like to see the payments made. So I'm setting a space of 30, from the left side of the screen, and then I'm going to say payments. And what's going to happen with this is it's going to be a little bit off centered from where the balances are. And I'll show you that here. Let's run it. I'll kind of give you an idea of what it's going to look like. And here we go. So account number, name, and a purchase price of, let's see, 80. So we're going through all 14 months. We've got a balance of 81, because we're adding that interest at the beginning of the month. And then the payment made, you see how it's kind of a little off balance there? So we get all of our payments out here. So I can see the first month I've made a $5.67 payment there. And then we go all the way to the end, I still have a balance. And let's see what happens when we run it and we've got, we get to use that break statement there. So first, last, purchase, I'm going to say 40. Actually, no, let's do 38. And see, we go to month 8, and at the beginning of month 8, we have a balance of 25.25, but I'm going to make a payment that's going to put us below 25. So final payment made, I'm just going to do, pay it off right there. So we only went for 8 months there. So it's a pretty cool problem. I think the next one we're going to use a loop to just check for several different people. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.